Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Be a Poser. Today we're going to be raising the bar on range of motion by pushing a figure to the limits of its articulation. To do that, we're going to be using the Hot Toys Spider-Man Homecoming 6-scale figure homemade suit version. Let's get started. Alright, here's Spider-Man in his awesome homemade suit. Look at all of this awesome stuff that it comes with. So much webbing, alternate eyes for different facial expressions, a fantastic portrait of Tom Holland, and a loose mask that he can hold on to. So many hands. I can't wait to see what I can do with all this stuff, so let's get rolling. Alright, here he is, Spider-Man in his fantastic homemade suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. Out of the box, ready to roll. I think what I'm going to want to do with this is a web swinging pose. So to get that started, first of all, let's address this base. This is a cool base. They've done right by us by making it adjustable. Once you get the height that you require for your pose, then just go ahead and tighten it down. Don't get it overly tight. Just put some pressure on it to determine whether or not it's going to stay. First things first, switch of hands. I want him spraying some webbing out of this hand, and I want him holding on to some webbing with this hand. We're going to seriously have him mid-swing between webs. There's this little fist that has a very tiny hole. There are two fists that have like semi-open hands for grasping things. This one here is significantly smaller. That's the one you're going to want for grabbing the webs. This is the trigger portion of his web shooter, and that's on the palm of the hand. Over here is the mechanism that actually fires the webbing. And there's a little nub sticking out right there to indicate that. So that's where you want those things to line up. And as you're moving things around, they may be knocked askew, so just revisit that. So he's going to be doing this, shooting a webbing out of his right hand while still holding on to the webbing behind him with this hand. I'm just trying to get him into a posture that kind of suggests that he's swinging these legs forward. Imagine that he's moving like this. It's like you're on a swing set when you thrust everything forward like this to carry your momentum higher. His torso is going to be going in the direction that he's swinging, but he's reaching with this hand to get the webbing aimed at where he wants it to be. So to do that, you have to twist his torso this direction. This guy's going to be traveling behind him. Now I'm thinking, in order to make this look right, you want to raise the arm as high as you can make it go here, and then rotate it up. I think this is as good of a time as any to put him onto the stand. For what we're doing here today, we'll need this web, which is going to be the web that he's holding on to, and one of these webs, which much shorter, indicates that it's just being fired. It's a little bit flexible. I don't think I'd push it, but for what we're doing here today, I think, yeah, it straightens it out just enough. Now that we've decided which webbing that we're going to use, you're going to notice that on this strand of webbing that's meant to be coming out of the web shooter, this hook is going to slide into a little hole underneath that emitter for the webbing. Second bit of webbing is going to be, I'm sure it's going to be just as simple. And what I think I want to do is switch out these eyes. Okay. And then once I'm going to use the medium, not fully squinting eyes, but the semi-squinting eyes instead of the wide open eyes that I had going on there when I first started. Just gives him a little bit more of a look of concentration. This is a pretty good start, but I think I want him aiming further up, and in order to achieve that, because I've got him facing as far forward as this clamp will allow, so I'm going to bend the stand back a touch. And just play with these legs. Don't have them bent at the same angle until you come up with something. We've all seen Spider-Man comic books. We all have a pretty good idea of what he's supposed to look like when he's doing his thing. Now what I'm running into here is a problem with his chin tucking down into his hoodie. So I think I might just try to, yeah, if you push that head forward a little bit, it actually gives him a little bit more in direction. It implies again that he's trying to reach really hard for what he's firing that web shooter at. Then that sticks his chin out a little bit more, and it gives you a bit of a hook that you can use to shove that hood under, and it doesn't look so unsightly. I don't like what this torso is doing here, so I want to try to get it to bend just a little bit more. I took his arm down and rotated it back. It's going to look... It looks fairly natural to me. It's not bending to the point where it's going to dislocate his shoulder. And it creates a little bit of this S-curve with these arms that I think is kind of attractive. You can then rotate this fist just a little bit and maybe move it up and then twist that webbing around. Don't think these things are posable, but think if you really wanted them to simulate more movement, then you could just find ways to rest them across his shoulder. I'm kind of tucking this forward one underneath the trailing one here, and then taking that trailing one and draping it over his shoulder there. Yeah, leave it there just like that. Get these toes pointed while you're at it. He's not going to be standing flat-footed, but not so much that you're showing off a whole lot of ankle. I like what we've done here. This is it. This is awesome. Spider-Man has seen several incarnations on the silver screen just in the span of the past 16 years. 6 movies total, and this one really hit it home. And while the more technologically advanced costume provided to Peter by Tony Stark is cool in and of itself, there's something special about this rendition of the costume. It showcases Peter's heart and drive to do the right thing, to take responsibility. That alone should make it worthy for inclusion in anyone's collection.